didn't turn out to be the case. It's her bowling ball. All those things are hers. Okay, I'm going to start the learning sponsors as we get together. A reminder that those who have are coming at 4:15 this afternoon at Century Grill. Okay. Okay.
At 4:15.
4:15. Okay. Okay. The year of learning, Isaac and Evelyn Blacho in memory of his sister Chaya Rachel Bas Isser. Friends of Leonie Meisem and Leah Sabra Bas Chanuk Zundel. Friends of Melaskatsky, Moshe Zelig Ben Mordechai. Martin Lippman and family in memory of his wife Malka Chana Bas Pinchas. Friends of Herb Jeremiah Tzvi Ben Zev. Friends of Sam Coleman Shmuel Ben Yaakov. Friends of Gideon Lazinski Mordechai Shlomo Ben Meir. Bella and David Adler in memory of her father Eliyahu Ben Yosef a Kohen, as well as those who were inspired by our Rebbetzin Emerita Sheila Shapiro, Sarah Esther Malka, Bas Meshulam Yisachar. Have a month of learning by the friends and students of Rabbi Shalom Kornblum, Harav Shalom Ben Mordechai, Susan and Ronald Podolsky, in memory of her father, Simcha Bunam Ben Yeshua, Michael and Judith Poretsky, in memory of his mother, Rachel Bas Avram. Once again, Susan and Ronald Podolsky, in memory of her mother, Chaya Bas Avram Dov. B. Pizer, in memory of her father, Yitzchak Dov Ben Shmuel. Judith and Michael Poretsky, in memory of her mother, Rezel Bas Yehuda Leib. Stanley Presser, in memory of his wife, Chaya Leah Bas Zev HaKohen. Malki and Rabbi Dr. Yanki Honig, in memory of her aunt Emma Edel Bat Shimon. I have a week of learning by Eliana Goldwasser, in memory of her husband, Eliyahu Ben Mordechai, by Yossi and Sipi Peleg, in memory of his mother, Shprinza Bas Akiva. Okay. Today being the, right? Today is the 17th of May. We do not have any individual days of learning today. Okay. Reminder, gentlemen, that as of tomorrow, we'll be into Gemara Gittin. Okay.
So you better be getting your volumes.
I see. Thank you for that.
You're
I give you
welcome.
2/3 of a pun for that. You know what 2/3 of a pun is?
Yes.
Yeah.
First of all, you've been saying that.
For a few years. Same joke.
Secondly, I'm capable of spelling most
That's good.
three-letter words.
Good. Okay. Gentlemen, let us again try to keep our lot of Gemara today, but we'll get through it. Okay? The best we can. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, says Rabbi Yitzchak.
And we did that.
Yes, we finished. That was on the bottom.
That would be the end of tomorrow. We'll have a clip.
What?
We'll have you don't have to bring the Gemara. We'll have
Relax. We do this every time. They know.
Yeah.
have to bring it.
No, we're bringing
No.
you a piece of paper with
Relax.
the Mishnah on it.
Hey, just like okay. Excellent.
You don't want to drip
Right.
barbecue sauce on your
Right.
Gemara.
Right. Okay. So we got to the point of the bottom. Okay, let's go. Okay, the point of the bottom, we said Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Elu b'nei Adam she'en ma'aminin, etc., b'kadosh Baruch Hu. Then there was a whole continuation. My dichtiv, miki mi baz liyom ktznut, mi garam l'tzadikim, sheyitbazuzu shulchanam la'atid lavo, ketanot shahaya bahem. Shalo he'aminu b'kadosh Baruch Hu. That's where we stopped yesterday. So we're on the very last line. Okay, we're starting the last line of Mem Chet Amud Beis. Okay, what does it say? Shalo he'aminu b'kadosh Baruch Hu. Rava Amar, Elu K'tanei b'nei Risha'ei Yisrael. These are the progeny, if you will, or the of those wicked ones of Israel. Now Mem Tet, today's death. Shemebaz Bazin Din Avihem La'atid Lavo. What do? they ruin the verdict, the law, the judgments for the future, right? Okay, Omrim lefanav, we see, why do they do that? How do they do that? Ribono shalom, Memtet Amud Aleph, second line. Okay, Ma'achar she'ata atid lifareya mehen, says, giving his drasha, you're going to exact punishment from them, and the implication being that their progeny will die during their lifetime. Okay, lama hek eta shnehem bam. Why did you do this, blunt their teeth? Why did you act this way? Amar Rabbi Ilah bar Yevarchaya, ilmalei tfilato shel David, were it not for the prayer of David, hayu kol Yisrael mochrei revav. Okay, all of Israel would be like people who would be selling garments with stains. Okay, that's the implication. In other words, impoverished, to lose, right? Shenamar, okay, what does it say in the Pasuk in Tehillim? Okay, Shita Hashem, right? Morat lehem. Ba'amar Rabbi Eli, again, Bar Yevarchia, ilmalei tfilato shel Chabakuk, were it not for the prayer of Chabakuk. Hayu shnei talmidei chachamim mitkasim b'talit echad. In other words, due to poverty, two sages would have to gather under the same talis, right? V'oskim b'Torah, and together they would have to learn, right? Shenamar, as it says, Hashem shamati shemacha, yareti Hashem palcha b'kerev shnayim chayeh. Okay, and they're going to darshan the word shnayim here. B'kerev shnayim chayehu, said the pasuk. Al tikra b'kerev shnayim. Don't read it gathered as two. Ela b'karov shnayim. But they have to force themselves to huddle almost as two. V'amar Rabbi Ilah bar Barachia, again, shnei talmidei chachamim, hamehalchim b'derech, two sages walking along the road. Ve'ein b'neihem divrei Torah, and between them there is no, I'm going to say, discussion of divrei Torah. Re'uyim lisaref ba'esh, they are worthy of being burnt. Okay, this is a parallel as we're going to see from Malachim. Shene'amar, as it says, Vayhi hema holchim. Okay, it was, I believe, Elisha and Elijah. Okay, they were traveling. Haloch v'davar, right? They were going down. V'hinei rechev ish v'gomer. Okay, rechev ish v'gomer. Okay, and a chariot of fire came by them. But notice the pasuk says v'diber, that they were speaking. Okay, tama de'ika dibur. Why? Because they had divrei Torah between them, implying ha leka dibur. But were there to be no divrei Torah between them, ru'uyim lisaref, they would have been worthy of being burnt up. Okay, again, Amar Rabbi Ilah bar Yevarchia, shnei talmidei chachamim, hadarim be'er echat, two sages, okay, that live in the same city, and they both render psak halacha, right? Ve'ein nochin ze lezeh b'halacha, but they do not consider, contemplate, recognize, deal with, etc., each other's piskei halacha. What happens? Echad meit ve'echad gola. One ultimately dies and one goes into exile. Shenamar, as it says, lanus shama rotzeach asher yirtzach et re'ehu bivli da'at. Okay, without any knowledge. What does it mean? Ve'ein da'at ela Torah. Okay, and when we say knowledge, it means awareness, acknowledgement of each other's Torah. Shenamar nidmu ami mibli hadat. Again, a new drasha. Amar Rabbi Yehuda Barei de Rabbi Chia, says as follows: Kol Tamid Chacham Haosek b'Torah mitoch adocha. Any sage that applies himself in the study of Torah while faced with poverty, adversity, difficulty, things like that, Tfilato nishmat, his prayer is heard. Shene'amar, ki im b'tzion yoshev b'Yerushalayim bacha, lo tivkeh, chanun yechancha, lekol za'acha, kishma'ato anach. Okay, again, notice the fact that crying, in other words, the adversity, but his voice is heard. Ki sham'ato hinach, okay, based on the end of the pasuk, ukativ batre, and written after that it says, right? V'natan Hashem lachem lechem tsar umayim latatz. Okay, that even though their rations might be meager, nevertheless they are able to continue with their Torah study. Rabbi Abahu Omer, he says as follows: Mashbi'in oto miziv shchina. Okay. How do we want to understand that that section? I took it as that. I don't want to say he vows, but I want to say he basically his oaths, his statements, okay, reflect the brightness of the Shekhinah. Shenamar v'hayu einecha ro'ot et, right, at Morecha, right. Okay, next. Rabbi Acha bar Chanina Amar, he says as follows: Af ein hapargor nig'al b'fanav. Okay, he's saying that even the, I'll use the word pargor, the mechitza, the screen, the separation, okay, is not closed before him. In other words, there is this concept, basically, that there can be a barrier, a screen between that prevents the prayers of some people from reaching the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, in this case, we're saying no, that even that under these circumstances, even in poverty, his study of Torah and his dedication to Torah life allows his prayers to reach through. Okay, Shene'amar v'lo yichanef or moricha. Okay, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel Omer. Okay, so he's going to give another statement, right? B'shem Rabbi Yoshua, in the name of Rabbi Yoshua. Miyom shecharav Beit HaMikdash. We come back now to those earlier statements, okay, where we saw a listing of when this happened, there were this negative results, so on and so forth. Okay, when the temple was, the Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, etc. Okay, there was, we said, ain, etc. No day that there wasn't misfortune, right? Amar Rava, says Rava. B'chol yom v'yom mirubeh kalalato mishel chavero. Each day, okay, what happened? They'll increase the misfortune more than the day before. Okay, Shneamar, as it says, Baboker tomar mi yitain erev, ube'erev tomar mi yitain boker. Each, in other words, they're looking for relief, but it doesn't come, whether at night for the morning or morning at night. Okay, all right. Hey, boker, what do we mean here in the sense of morning? What are we saying? Ilema boker dilamachar. If we're saying for the morning of the next day, miyada mai have. Okay, do we know what's going to happen? Ela de chalif. Rather, it was the morning that passed. The Ela Alma. Okay, and these then in the world in general, what do we say? Amai kamakayim. How is one able to continue to exist? Akedusha desidra. Okay, because of our recitation of a form of the kedusha. Remember in the davening, we have the kedusha that's in the Amida, okay, which is one kedusha, and then towards the end of Uvalat Zion, towards the end of the davening, we have what's called kedusha de sidra, and there too we have, okay, again, that's similar language, all right. V'iha shmei rabba de agadata, okay, and that is the recitation of the great divine name, often associated in the Agadata, Okay, I had a little different shot there. Okay, that when they would recite, when they would give a drasha, okay, and it whether it included a gadita or a learning, okay, they always did the Rabbanan Kaddish, okay, and that's the reference there, okay. Shene'amar Eretz Afta Kemo Ofel Salmot Velo Sudarim Yesh Sudarim Tofia Me Ofel, okay, that we're indicating that what? That it's the study and the recitation of scripture and learning from it, okay, removes the darkness, removes that point. V'lo yired tal livracha v'nital ta'am perot. So then our Mishnah went on to say that the dew didn't fall for blessing, and the taste of the fruit was removed. Okay, as examples of misfortune. Tanya, we learn in a bright. Rabbi Shimon ben Eliezer Omer says as follows: Tahara bitla ta'am, that the lack of observance of Tuma and Tara, particularly in regards to situations of Nida, that's what removed the taste of the fruit. And not only that, the reach, and also the odor, okay, of the fruit. Okay. Maaser bitel shuman dagan. Okay, and in that case, we see that okay,
not taking trumas.
so that the appropriate taking, and we saw that whole discussion of trumot and masrot. Okay, did away with the richness, I'm going to say, of the produce. Rav Huna ishkach chumrata. The Chinut Nita, okay. Rav, a story now, okay. Rav Huna happened to find what we will call a creamy date, right? Shakla, he took it, okay. And who did, okay, and what did he do? Karcha besudare. He wrapped it up and he folded it in his kerchief, his garment, right? Ata Rava Bere, along came Rava, his son, Amarle, and he said to him, Murchina Recha Techinu Neita. I smell the odor of this creamy date. Amarle Bene, he said to my son, Tahara Yeshbach. That means you are good in being careful about Tuma and Tara. Okay, and therefore, Yahava, he took it, v'nehale, and he gave it to his son. Adahachi, at that point, so to speak, ata Abba Bere, along came Abba, who was the son of Rabba, and the grandson of Rav Huna. Okay, so what happens? Shakle, he took the creamy date, right?
Father gave it.
Okay, which his father had given to him. Yahava v'nehale, he gave it to his son. Okay, Amarle, okay, and he said to him. So now Rav Huna says to Rava, Bani, simchat samachta et libi, you made my heart happy, right? But at the same time, v'hikita et shinai, you made me happy, but at the same time, you made me, it was problematic for me. Hainu da amre inshe. This is why people say right? Rachme da abba abne. The love and concern for a father is for his son. Rachme de b'nei abne. Okay, and the love of his son is for his son, da havule. What? Lishvach. Okay. Okay. So Rav Acha bar Yaakov.
No, it's Kenai.
No, he felt disappointed.
Because
he felt disappointed, but the comment of the people is the shvach.
It's a Kenai. There's a halacha of kibbutz.
Yes, but still, people say they tend. That's the statement.
Their child,
right?
Their
so
father.
For them, that was a positive thing. For him, it was a negative thing. That's the point. Okay, right. So what happens? Okay, Abnei Dahavu. Rav Acha Bar Yaakov. Okay, what happens with him? Okay, Itpil Bey Barav Yaakov Barte. Rav Acha Bar Yaakov helped raise his grandson. Okay, Rav Yaakov Barte. Rav Yaakov, who was the son of his daughter. Okay, what happens? Ki Gadal, when he got older. Okay, his grandfather who helped raise him, Rav Acha Bar Yaakov, okay, asked him, Ashkin Maya, would you get me some water? Okay, Amarlo, he responded to him, Lav Barech Ana, I am not your son. Namely, yes, you helped raise me, but I don't have the same level of kibud av for you that I would need to do, okay, for my actual parent. Okay, right? So what happens? All right, La Barech Ana. Vahinu da Amre Imshe. And this is again the popular saying that people say, okay, Rebbe Bar Bartach Ana. Okay, Rebbe, I am the son of your daughter. Okay, a new Mishnah. Matnitin, says our Mishnah, Bepuma Shel Aspasianus. Okay, during the negative, the evil decrees, well, it's more than that. Okay, of Vespasian, and some want to question the historicity here of whether it's Vespasian or whether it was Titus. Nevertheless, Gazru al Atarot Chatani, among the negative decrees of Vespasian, that they forbade certain wreaths that were worn by grooms. Okay, Va'al ha'erus, and they also forbade the use of the erus, which we'll follow up shortly. Bepumas shel Titus, with the evil decrees of Titus, right? Gazrua atarot kalot. They therefore forbade the wreaths, the crowns that were worn by brides, right? For and not only that, v'shelo yilamed adam et beno Yavanit, that a person is not permitted to teach his son Greek. Okay. Furthermore, Bapomus ha'acharon, in the last set of decrees, right? Gazru shelo teitze hakala ba'pirion b'toch ha'ir, that they decreed that a bride cannot go out in a carriage or with a canopy, okay, within the city. And later on, what happened? V'rabotenu hitiru sheteitze hakala ba'pirion b'toch ha'ir, that the rabbis did permit, okay, a bride to go out in this carriage, with this canopy, okay. What by apirion actually was that chair that they would carry people in, nobles and things like that, where the servants would carry them and they would sit, okay, like that. Okay, and it had, for tznius purposes, with a bride, they had curtains around it. Okay? So what happens? Mishemet Rabbi Meir, once Rabbi Meir, when he died, Bidlu Moshle Mishalim. Okay, that was nullified those who would tell parables. Okay, Mishemet Ben Azai, when Ben Azai died, Bidlu Hashakdanim. Then those who were diligent scholars, okay, were no longer around. Mishemet Ben Zoma, when Ben Zoma died, Bitlu Hadar Shanim. Okay, when Ben Zoma died, then those who explained and gave beautiful drashas, okay, were no longer around. Mishemet Rabbi Akiva, when Rabbi Akiva died, Batel Kavod HaTorah. Then the glory, okay, of learning Torah was diminished. Mishemet Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa, when he died, Bitlu Anshe Ma'aseh, then men of deeds, those who performed various mitzvahs, and those who performed acts of tzedakah, and so on. Okay? Mishemet Rabbi Yossi Katanta, when Rabbi Yossi Katanta died, Pasku Chasidim, then the righteous people stopped. They stopped being a level of righteousness. V'lama nikra shemo ketonta. Why was he called the young, the smallest, the least? Shahaya ketanta shel chasidim, because he was the youngest, smallest, last really of the righteous men. Mishamed Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. When Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai died, okay, what happened? Batel ziv hachachma. The glory of wisdom was ended. Mishamed Rabban Gamliel Hazaken. Okay, when he died, Batel Kvod HaTorah. Again, the glory of Torah was
this
removed.
is a second diminution.
Okay, it further, right? Umeta Tahara Uprishut. And not only that, but there also ended, okay, the observance of purity and separation, okay, as well. Mishamet Rabbi Yishmael, when Rabbi Yishmael ben Pavi, okay, died, Bitla Ziv HaKehuna, the splendor of the Kohanim was nullified. Mishamet Rabbi, when Rabbi himself died, Batel Anava Birat Chet, then humility and fear of sin, okay, was went away. All right. Gemara Tanu Rabbanan, a new bright. Rabbi Pinchas ben Yair says as follows: Omer, Mishahar Charav Beit HaMikdash, when the temple was destroyed, okay, what happens? Boshu Chaverim Ubenei Chorin V'chafu Rosham, okay, that those who were highborn and those who were clever in learning, okay, they not only were embarrassed, but they were, their face turned, so to speak, white, right? V'nig, right? V'nil nidladlu anshe ma'aseh, and they're diminished, the men of good deeds. V'gavru ba'alei zroa, and the tough guys, okay, the bad guys increased, okay. Uba'alei lashon, and also those who were, okay, those, well, that was one explanation, although also those who were deceitful in the language. It was more than just lashon hara, okay. Ve'ein doresh, and there was no one to give sermons. Ve'ein mevakesh, and no one to request. In other words, to pray.
Right,
Okay.
nobody lead prayer.
Okay. Ve'ein shoel, and no one to seek Hashem. Al mi lanu lahashin, therefore upon whom can we rely? Al avinu shebashamayim, only on our Father in heaven. Rabbi Eliezer Hagadol Omer, he says as follows: Miyom shecharav Beit HaMikdash, from the time that the temple was destroyed, what happened? Sharu Chachima the Mahave Kisifraya. Okay, that the sages were compared to simply school teachers. V'safraya kechaznaya, and the school teachers were only knowledgeable enough, like the shamus in the shul. V'chaznaya ke'amada'ara, and the shamus, the sexton, okay, was basically like an am haaretz, somebody with lacking hardly any knowledge, right? Va'amada'ara, and the am haaretz, what happened? Okay, azla v'dildila. Okay, what did they happen? Okay, they became poorer in mitzvot, right? Ve'ein shoel, and there was again no one to seek Hashem. Ve'ein mevakesh, no one to request. Yes, davening, lead. Okay, all right. Al mi yesh lahashin, upon whom do we have to rely? Al avinu shebashamayim, on our Father in heaven. Okay, all right. So now the Gemara goes on. Be'ikvot Mashiach chutzpah yaska. Okay, in this time of, I'm going to call it waiting or hoping for the Messiah, insolence increased, right? V'yoker ya'amir, and the cost of items increased. All right, right, we're in it, right? Okay, so what happened? Hagefen titain pirya, wine still came forth from the fruit, but okay, I'm sorry, the vine still produced its fruit, v'hayayin biyoker, but wine was very expensive. right? Umalchut tehafech leminut, and the ruling authority became an example of heresy. Ve'ein tochacha, and there was no one to rebuke them. Okay, what happened then? Beit Va'ad, which was the meeting place of the sages, Nut, became a place for promiscuity. All right, Vahagalil Yecharav, okay, that and the Galil became destroyed, Vahagvalin Yasum. And what happened then was that in the border towns, okay, they too became desolate, decayed. Va'anshe Gvul, okay, Yesu, right? Yesovavuhu, Me'ir La'ir, Velo Yechananenu. Okay, that people who lived on the borders wandered from town to town, and, okay, and they did not have any place for rest. Okay, Lechachmut Sfarim Tisrach, and the knowledge based on the individuals whose scholars learned, those who learned and wrote, okay, became decayed. Vayorei chet yimasu, and those who had fear of sin, they were detested. Va'ahamet tehei ne'ederet, and truth then was absent. Na'arim pnei zkanim yalbinu, that young men embarrassed older people. Zkanim ya'amdu mipnei ktanim, and elders had to stand for younger people, as opposed to the opposite, which was the proper behavior. Okay, ben minuval av, a son embarrassed or his father, bat kama, or rebelled against his father, which could be also bat kama ba'ima kala bechamota, and a daughter would rise up against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Okay, oy ve'ish anshe beito, and the people of one's own household became their enemies. Okay, pnei hador ki pnei hakelet. Okay, the face of that generation was like the face of a dog. Haben eino mitbayesh me'aviv, a son does not become embarrassed by his father.
Misbehave in front of his father.
Right? Va'alma yesh lanu lahasham, va'al, okay, on what can we rely? Al avinu shebashamayim, and our Father in heaven. Okay, now we get to the Gemara. Amar Rav, says Rav as follows. Lo shanu ela shel melech v'gafri. They only referred to this lesson regarding
the reeds now.
The beginning of the Mishnah, when it talked about the situation. Okay, we're talking about salt and sulfur. Aval shel cheres. Okay, but if it's of earthenware, v'shel vered.
No, hadas, leaves, not cheres, hadas. They used to take large salt crystals and use sulfur to engrave designs on them. And
they would make it. They would make it like as if it was fancy glass or fancy stones.
But now they would make reeds.
Oh, this was in regards to the wreaths.
Reeds, yeah.
Yeah, the crowns. Okay. All right. So aval shel hadas. Okay, but if it was made from hadas, v'shel vered, or if it was made from flowers, roses, particularly mutar, it's permitted. Ushmuel omer sheshmuel af shel hadas v'shel vered asur. Even that of hadas or vered is forbidden. Shel kanim, if they made it from reeds, v'shel chelet, or for another kind of bush, okay, mutar, it's permitted. The Levi Amar, says Levi, af shel kinim v'shel chelet asur. Even that made from reeds and other kinds of grasses or bush is forbidden. V'chein tani Levi, and so Levi taught b'matnite in a Mishnah, af shel kinim v'shel cheles asur. Even that of reeds and of bush, okay, is forbidden. Okay? Va'al ha'erus. Now we had this word that was also forbidden. Mai erus. Okay, in other words, The question was, they did not, the Roman decree
No,
for,
this was a Takanas Chachamim. Because of the destruction, this is like an act of mourning. The Chassanim could not decorate.
the
themselves.
Mishnah said it was part of the decrees of
The Mishnah
Vespasian.
said
Okay.
it's a Takanas Chachamim. When the Romans were giving them a hard time, the Chachamim said, you can't wear the reeds. This is all Takanas Chachamim.
Where do you have that?
Rashi, look, just go by.
Okay,
That's why I argued with you on your translation.
okay. Okay, Va'al ha'eres, ma'i eres, what do we say then? Amar Rabbi Elazar. Okay, Tavla dechad puma. Eres, he said, is a bell with a single clapper. Okay, Rava bar Rav Huna. Okay, Avad le lebre tambura. Okay, Rava Huna. Okay, Rava bar Rav Huna was making a tambourine for his son. Okay, we assume it's for a chasana, for a wedding. Okay, Ata avuhe v'tavra. Along came Rava bar Rav Huna's father, and he destroyed it. He broke it. Amarle, he said to him, instead, which is what you should do, michlaf betavla dechad puma. He told him basically, change it and put something over an urn. So you make it into a drum rather than a bell or a tambourine. Okay. Zil avadle apuma de chatzva. He went, he put it on the mouth of a pitcher. Okay. O apima de kaviza, or on the mouth of a pitcher. Okay, so he put it either on the mouth of an urn, the chatzva, or the mouth of a pitcher. Okay, then we go on. Bapuma shel mitus. Okay, gazru al atarot kalot. During the decrees of Titus, they made the decree against the wreaths, so the crowns for brides. Mai atarot kalot. What do we mean by the crowns of brides? Amar Rava bar Rav Kana, as follows. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Ir Shel Zahab. Okay, what he's talking about, I'm suggesting, is like a kind of tiara, okay, that was worn, okay,
It was cut out,
and
like
it had a design on it, okay. Remember that in the story of Rabbi Akiva, he talks about giving her something similar, okay, with the image of Yerushalayim.
Shabbos talks about whether women can wear these.
Tanya Nami Hachi, and we also learn in a bright as follows: Ezehu Atarot Kalot. What are these crowns for the brides? Ir Shel Zahav, okay, a city of gold. Aval Oseh Ota Kippah Shel Milat, but he may make her a head covering of fine wool. Okay, okay. Tana says Tana as follows: Af al chupat chatanim gazu. Even in regards to the canopy, okay, this was a kind of canopy made of a certain style. My chupat chatanim. What do we mean? The chuppah, the covering for grooms. Zuhurit hamuz havot. These were crimson cloths that were trimmed with gold. Okay, and that was how they were used. What?
That's what the chuppah looked
Yeah,
like.
that was how they had the canopy, marriage. Tanya Nami Hachi, and we have a Braita that teaches as follows: Eluhein chupat chatanim. These are what we consider the canopy for the grooms. Zuhurit hamuz havot. These crimson cloths with gold. Aval oseh pipiroit. Okay, but one can make a lattice work. But toleh ba kol ma sheyirtzeh, and hang from that whatever one chooses. V'shelo yilmad et bano Yavanit, and what is the business that he can't teach his son Greek? Tana Rabbanan, but we have a Braita that teaches. Okay, kashet saru malchei beit chashmonai ze el ze, when there was a confrontation between in the house and the family of the Hasmoneans, one brother against another. What happened? Haya Hyrcanus mibachutz. Hyrcanus was the besieging brother with his army. Aristobulus mibifnim. And Aristobulus was inside the city of Jerusalem. Okay, when what happened? B'chol yom v'yom hayu mishalshalim dinarim b'kupa. Every day they would lower a basket full of denarim. Okay, and what then would happen? Uma'alim lehen tmidim, and that would pay for animals that they would then raise up in the basket and use for the tamid offering. Haya sham zaken echad, and there was an elderly person there, shahaya makir b'chachmat Yevani, and this man was familiar with, I'm going to say, Greek philosophy and theology. What happened? La'az lahem, okay, he secretly communicated with the besieging forces, b'chamat Yevani, with Greek philosophy and thought, right? Amar lahem, he said to them, kol zman she'oskim ba'avodah, so long as the Jews inside of Yerushalayim were able to continue with the sacred worship, ein nimsarin biyadchem, they will not be given over into your hands, right? Lemachar, the next day, what did they do? Shilshalu lahem dinarim bekupa, they lowered the money, the denarim, in the basket, and what did they pull up? Ve'alu lahem chazir, and instead they pulled up a pig, right? What happened? Kevan shehagia lechatzi choma, once the animal in the basket was halfway up the wall, na'atz tzipornav, its pig hoofs pushed itself against the wall, so they couldn't raise it anymore. Right? Nizda'azeya Eretz Yisrael arba me'ot parsa, and the land, entire land shook, okay, because of this terrible incident. Ota sha'a, at that same time, amru arur adam shigadel chazirim, it is forbidden for a person to grow pigs, right?
This is again a takana.
Okay, this is, I would say, is a
Yeah,
takana. I didn't see that anywhere. Va'arur adam sheyilamed libno chachmat yivani. Okay, and it is forbidden for a man to teach his son Greek philosophy and Greek thought.
Well, the Havamina is the Greek language.
Well, wait, Michael, come on. Okay, va'al ota shana shaninu ma'aseh, and at that same time, okay, we taught the following incident, right? Uva omed, okay, mignot tzrifin, ushtei halechem mibnat ein socher. Okay, that there too we saw, okay, right, that they had to bring the omer from far distance, miganot tzrifin, which was far away from the city, ushtei halechem, and they had to bring the flour for the shtei halechem mibnat ein socher. In other words, because of the siege, all of the produce area around the city was destroyed, and the only way they could get flour or things like that was from far distance. Aini, is that really the case? Okay. In other words, was it that strong a siege, and was there that situation? Okay, that all because we're saying of this Greek philosophy and language? Okay, let's see. Aini, is that the case? Vaha'amar Rebbe. But didn't Rebbe once say, okay, Be'eretz Yisrael Lashon Sursi Lama. Why are they speaking Syriac in Eretz Yisrael? Ella I Lashon HaKodesh or Lashon Yevani. They should be speaking either Hebrew or Greek. Va'amar Rav Yosef Babavel. And says Rav Yosef, who lived in Babylonia, Lashon Arami Lama. Why are people going around speaking Babylonian Aramaic? Ella, rather, O Lashon HaKodesh, or Lashon Parsi. Either they should speak Hebrew or they should speak Persian. Okay, so the Gemara tells us Lashon Yavanit Lachud v'Chachmat Yavanit Lachud. The Greek language was one thing, Greek philosophy and thought was something else. Okay, v'Chachmat Yavanit mi Asira, and did they really forbid Greek language? Okay, Greek thought. Va'amar Rav Yehuda. Says Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, in the name of Shmuel, Mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. Mai dichtiv. What does it mean when the pasuk says, Eine olala benafshi mikol benot iri? How do we understand that? The following he suggests. Elef Yiladim Hayuba Beit Abba. There were 1,000 children, students in the academy of my father. Chamesh Me'ot Lamdu Torah. 500 learned Torah. V'chamesh Me'ot Lamdu Chachmat Yivani. And 500 learned Greek, okay, Greek thought and Greek learning. Okay, could be secular. I don't know. I would agree with that. Okay. V'lo nishtayer mehem ela ani kan, and there remains none except for myself who is here, uben achi abba, and the son of my father's brother, Ba'asya in Asia. Right? Sha'ani shel beit Rabban Gamliel. I am of the house of Rabban Gamliel. Okay, why was it permitted then in that situation? The krovin l'malchut havu, because they were close to the ruling authority. So they had to be able to speak Greek to the ruling authorities. Okay. The Tanya, as was taught, okay, Misparat kume hare zeh midarchei ha'emori. Okay. Or another example, Avtulus, or Ben Reuven. Okay, he was of the royal family also. Hitiru l'sapar kumi. They permitted him to have a certain cut of hairstyle. Okay, right? Called kumi.
Which had been banned.
Okay, Shahu karov the malchut, because he was close to the royal authority. We have also, the Gemara sometimes talks about another phrase, blondie. Okay, right, Bloris, okay, which also was a similar hairstyle.
That was Persian.
Okay,
Now we're into
right.
Greek.
All right, so Shahu Karol Machus. Shabbat Rabban Gamliel, Hitiru Lehen Chachmat Yevani. The house of Rabban, the family of Rabban Gamliel was permitted, okay, in that academy, they were permitted to study Greek thought and philosophy. Why? Was that the case? Mipnei Shekrovin the Malchut, because they were close to the royal authority. That's where we're going to stop today, this morning, and we will finish from there this afternoon.
Hey, by the way, this is where you get that statement. It's all Greek.
Oh, really?
Oh, you got it? Okay. Didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
Not bad.
That's a problem. Because first of all, we're talking about the time of the Hashmonah, which is